Summary of Spare Parts by Joshua Davis. The first part of the book takes place at the 2004 MATE Underwater Robotics Competition, where Oscar Vasquez, Christian Arcega, Lorenzo Santillan, and Luis Aranda are presenting their robot. These Phoenix High School students from a poor neighborhood have built a robot that can fight with schools like MIT. This impresses the judges, Tom Swen and Lisa Spence. The team does a good job of answering the judges' questions about their robot. Davis then gives some information on each character. They were all born in Mexico, but their parents brought them to the US so they could find better jobs and give their children more chances. But each of the kids also feels like an alien. Lorenzo gets teased at school because of his mullet and oddly shaped head. As a result, he spends a lot of time helping his uncle Hugo fix cars in his homemade shop and learns how he solves problems in creative ways. Christian is a skinny kid from Spain who doesn't speak English well at first and has a hard time in American school, but he slowly moves up to the top of his class. He also likes to watch home improvement shows because the power tools are so interesting to him. Frady Lajvardi is his friend Michael Hank's teacher of marine science and the leader of the robotics club. When he starts high school, Michael leads them to meet. I feel the same way about Oscar in the US until he joins the ROTC. Major Glenn Goins, who is in charge of the group, helps Oscar become a real leader. He knows, though, that he can't join the army because he doesn't have the right papers. Luis also doesn't have many friends at school because he is very quiet, 250 pounds, and 6 feet tall, which scares other kids. Davis also talks about how tough it was for immigrants in Arizona at this time. Police raids happen all the time. In 1997, they caught 432 illegal aliens in one sweep in a Phoenix neighborhood. They get family members to leave their homes in the middle of the night, and Hispanic people are often the ones they target. The sheriff of Phoenix's county, Joe Arpaio, thinks that immigrants are a waste of money and time because they bring gangs, crime, drugs, and violence. Frady's story of immigration is similar. He was born in Iran and went to the United States, where he became a citizen when he was 19. For Frady, the best way to get kids interested in learning is to give them hands-on tasks to do. He gets yet another teacher, Alan Cameron, to help him start a robotics club at Carl Hayden. He comes to the club around the same time as Lorenzo, in May 2003. Frady gets Christian excited about the trebuchet they are going to build next school year that will shoot pumpkins, and he takes Lorenzo under his wing and tries to show him the way. Lorenzo, Christian, and Michael Hank begin building the trebuchet in the fall of 2003. Frady thinks that the younger students need someone to lead them, so he asks Oscar to join the club. The 4 students work together to build a catapult, but they agree that it would be better to have a strong team member who can help with some of the work. Flint gives Luis, who is in Marine Science Seminar, the chance to do his class project with the Robots Club. The kids start getting ready for the 2004 MATE Underwater Robotics Competition as soon as they finish the catapult project. They have to make a robot that can do a lot of hard things, like finding out how long a submarine is, checking the temperature of the water, getting things back, and taking a sample of liquid from the ground. Friends and companies in the area help the kids get $900 for the robot. They make a model of their ROV and then start testing different ways to get the job done. The length of the submarine can be found with a tape measure, which is Lorenzo's idea. But they need another way to find the depth. They get in touch with Greg Detrey, who sells laser tape measures. They ask him for help, and he lets them borrow one of his gadgets. The same thing happens when they ask other businesses about a thermometer and a grabber that can help them with their recovery work. The students then start putting together their robot. They buy PVC pipe and try putting it together in different ways to make sure the ROV isn't too light. The kids feel like they belong on the team, so much so that Lorenzo works in the robotics closet instead of doing his chores most of the time. Frady tells Lorenzo that he needs to improve his grades if he wants to stay in the club. Lorenzo begins to study more and sit in the front of the class. The other students are moved by his hard work and decide to do the same. Lorenzo comes up with a plan for the ROV's hardest job, which is to get a sample of liquid from a barrel. To hold the balloon, he chooses to use a water pump, copper tube, and a simple balloon. Lorenzo and Frady are both very proud of the clever answer he comes up with. Oscar and Luis also try out different motor settings to find the best one for their power and movement. The Carl Hayden Robots Club is also competing in a different event, which is called the First Competition, at the same time that Lorenzo, Christian, Oscar, and Luis are working on the mate competition. For extra points, they have to make a robot that can do a pull-up and pick up basketballs. They decide to make one that can only do pull-ups because that will give them the same number of points as getting 10 basketballs. In the end, they came in 21st out of 36 teams and won the Engineering Inspiration Award. After that, they go to Atlanta for the regional final and finish 39th out of 73 teams there. The kids will have 10 weeks to get ready for the mate challenge after that. Oscar and Luis finish high school, and the four kids have become good friends. But they still need to finish the last few things they need to do to get ready for the game. The first step is to quickly stick the robot together, as the glue dries quickly. When the PVC pipes don't line up with the bag that holds the robot's battery, they run into trouble. But Lorenzo suggests using a heat gun to bend the pipes, which works perfectly. People call it Stinky because the glue smells so bad. The four students take Stinky to a nearby scuba center to work on his skills. Also there to help drive the robot is Michael Hank. They work on controlling it and making sure it has the right amount of stability and balance. The team starts to feel better about their chances as they get better at doing the different jobs. Frady and Alan tell Michael the day before they leave that he can't go with them because he hasn't improved enough in school to stay in the club. Oscar will be in charge of the robot instead. That day, Oscar and Christian can work together for a short time. They leave at 4 a.m. the next day for California, where the race is held. They find a leak in their robot when they test it in the pool. Once they're done with their oral technical talk, they fix the break. It's Lorenzo's idea to use tampons to soak up extra water. He and Oscar then spend the whole night resoldering the controls connections. MIT can't finish some of the tasks at the competition, but the students can. For example, they can do the water sample job. With 32 points, they are in third place, 3 points behind MIT and Cape Fear Community College. These marks and the score for the technical show will decide who wins in the end. The Carl Hayden students pull off an amazing upset at the awards event, beating out MIT to win the overall winner award, the design award, and the technical writing award. The other people in the group roar with approval, and the kids are jumping for joy. Davis spends the rest of the book following the characters after they've achieved success. For example, Lorenzo and Luis go to cooking school, start a food business together, and do odd jobs to make money. In 2009, Lorenzo and his family are kicked out of their home. Christian finishes and then goes to Arizona State University. But between his freshman and sophomore years, Christian's tuition quadruples because Arizona passes a law that keeps undocumented youth from getting in-state fees. He has to drop out. After that, he works at Home Depot and at night, he comes up with new ideas in his room. Also, Oscar goes to ASU and stands out as a star there. The school tries to help him pay for his fees when it goes up the same way Christian's does after his junior year. He also gets married and has a daughter on the way when he graduates in 2009. But he knows that he won't be able to find a job without a green card, so he chooses to leave the country. He tries to get residency in the US while he is back in Mexico but is turned down. In 2010, Senator Dick Durbin introduced the DREAM Act to make it easier for people like Oscar who have lived in the US for 5 years and gone to college to become citizens. He brought Oscar's story up in the Senate to make the point. Even though the bill fails, Durbin asks US immigration to change their mind about Oscar's application. After being accepted for his green card, he comes back to the US and can join the army. When Oscar gets back from his tour in Afghanistan, he works for a train company. This is the last part of Davis's book. He compares the real-life story to the movie about the students that came out in 2013 and finished with the awards at the MATE competition. He says that the movie gives them a happy ending that continues to elude some of the individuals portrayed in the story because of U.S. immigration laws and rules.
About the author. Davis grew up in California. Before beginning his career as a journalist, Davis did several odd jobs in his early 20s after graduating from college. He then collaborated with a friend to write an article for a local San Francisco newspaper. When Davis joined the U.S. Arm Wrestling team in 2001, he went on trips to fight in other countries, but he has never won a match. The Telluride Mountain Film Festival gave him the award for Best Documentary for the film he made about his life. Davis became a contributing editor at Wired magazine in 2003 after writing about the Iraq War for the magazine. Random House released Davis's autobiography, The Underdog, in 2005. It tells the story of his journey through some of the world's craziest contests. Davis and Joshua Bearman started Epic in 2013 as a magazine that would only publish amazing true stories. Davis's book Spare Parts came out in 2014 and was later turned into a movie. He lives in San Francisco.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.